that's what I've been working on, this big mess in here. I cannot wait until after the stream, because after the stream, I'm going to button up the rest of my video, which is one talking about mini racks, primarily focused on network racks. So a little bit different than what I did last time. You know, when Jeff Geerling asked me to be on his last video about mini racks, I thought to myself, oh, I could probably do this again. And I forget how much work it is to like build a rack. And for some reason, I'm always like, yeah, I got to build two. I don't know why. I scope creep everything when I make videos. But building a network rack or multiple network racks is just like building a big network rack. You just have less ports. So you got to think like, oh, LAN, WAN, VLANs, security, all of that stuff you got to configure. I will say, though, that this is much less than the last mini rack that I did that was a whole entire Homelab, which was everything. I mean, we're talking Proxmox, TrueNAS, you name it. So this is a little bit less work, but still, it was just like a ton of stuff. Next time I get the idea of like doing another mini rack, just like club me over the head and say, no, that's how you lose 2 weeks. So anyways, I'll have that out here pretty soon. Other than that, like, man, just trying to survive. We got a lot of snow. I think a lot of snow is coming again for folks out east. It's going to get really cold here. It's going to get, I think, -15 here in the next couple of days. And Fahrenheit, so in Celsius, I learned that earlier today, it's like a -26 Celsius. So pretty cold. And we might be creeping up to like -40 in like the northern part of Minnesota, which is really cold, which is, you know, Canada's above us. And man, it is really cold. And so at -40, that's where Fahrenheit and Celsius meet. So hey, like we can speak the same language now. As soon as it's -40, I don't have to do the conversion because I'm like, you'll understand. Anyways, so that's what's going on. It's been real cold. Just shoveled a ton of snow, which I enjoy doing. But yeah, it's gonna get cold. I don't mind it when it gets cold. I mean, as long as my house is warm, like you know, it's kind of fun. Use a lot more heat though, or gas, I should say. So, anyways, let's get into chat and see what you guys are talking about, because I'm just like babbling about weather and stuff. So if you want to share something, throw it in the chat and let's talk about it. We saw this. Hey, years flown by. Dude, Alex, thank you. I appreciate it. Check 1, 2. Yeah, so I was doing some checks earlier. This is my check and my check 1, 2. So I appreciate it. Thank you, Angel of the Odd. Appreciate it. DNS. Oh, yeah, it's always DNS. It is always DNS. Yeah, speaking of always DNS, I put up a post on X. I tweeted on X. I don't know what to call it anymore. I feel like I should call it X. I keep holding on to Twitter, and now I'm, you know, people are, it's like past the point. Like it's not going to go back to Twitter. Anyways, I posted on there yesterday that I noticed that one funny thing, kind of related to DNS. So on my Ubiquiti gear, you can choose a public IP to monitor your uptime. Basically, any IP you want to monitor your uptime, right? And so what Ubiquiti does is pick one of their IPs, like ping.ui.com or something, you know, and, you know, I thought, well, you know, I not that I don't think they're going to be up, but that, you know, I have to trust that they're always going to be up, and I have to trust that DNS is going to work. So what I typically do, instead of monitoring something like that, I usually either put in Cloudflare 1.1.1.1 because it's easy to remember and I don't have to remember a DNS name or rely on DNS, or I go with 8.8.8.8, which is Google's DNS. And I'm not using them for DNS, neither of them. I do it to monitor my uptime. Well, yesterday morning, like my ONT kept rebooting, like I'd say about every 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, what is going on? Must be a problem with my ISP. It kept doing it and doing it and doing it to where I was like, okay, something is really wrong. And it turns out, like, I guess Cloudflare was having some issues. And I realized that, like, yeah, I probably shouldn't reboot my ONT automatically, like if Cloudflare doesn't respond so many times to those pings. But it hasn't been a problem for years. But yesterday, yeah, whatever, somewhere between here and Cloudflare, but I know it's Cloudflare because they had all kinds of issues this week, was dropping packets. And so that was fun to figure out. And then it turns out, on top of that, I also told I must have clicked the wrong button somewhere along the way, and I told it to reboot my UNAS too. So my UNAS is like not only is my ONT like going on and off and power cycling it, so is my UNAS. So I'm like, what is going on? So, anyways, it was fun to figure out. It was fun to figure out, and so a lot of people felt very passionate about like how I should monitor my next hop. And instead of me monitoring Cloudflare or whatever, Quad 9, Cloudflare, it doesn't matter. Some IP that's managed by a $1 trillion company, that like Google that has 9999 uptimes. They were saying like, hey, instead of doing that, how about just measuring just look at your next hop. And I kind of agree with that, but sometimes I'm in the cloud, sometimes I'm at home, sometimes my IP changes, which my gateway shouldn't. But I was just kind of like, well, I'm just gonna do this end to end. It's worked for me for a long time. But I realized that a lot of people were pretty passionate about that. Like, you should be checking your uptime with your next hop, and I kind of get that. But at the same time, like I kind of want to do it end to end. So, anyways, I totally get the reasoning for it. But I've like a lot of software I use and a lot of hardware we use. That's exactly what they do. They don't know your next hop, nor do they care. They're just going to ping Google DNS or Cloudflare DNS or something that has like so many 99999s on the uptime that's like backed by money that like, it's like, okay, well, if they're down, then there are big problems in the world. So anyways, that was good. That was a good discussion, I thought. I was like, yeah, well, I probably should do that. Like, I love it when I put stuff out and I get responses that I don't expect, because I'm like, this totally took a different turn, which is, I have a blind side. I realized it, so it's pretty cool. I love that when that happens. Dude, thank you so much. What is going on? Hype train incoming. Dude, Bill Nash, how's it going? Resub, 1 month, tier 1. Dude, thank you so much. Not 1 month, 26 months. Dude, thank you so much. Where's the Sup Nerds? Oh, it was in there. Yeah, Sup Nerds. What's up, dude? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Oh, yeah, my hype train. Oh, that GIF is so great. Oh, so random. But, dude, thank you. Appreciate it. Dude, thanks for the bits. Angel of the Odd, thanks for the bits. 200 bits. PC Geek, thanks for the bits. Hype train is going. Thank you. I should keep that hype train thing up a lot longer. It cracks me up that someone actually did that with my face. So, dude, what is going on? There's other things going on. Oh, VAC Industries, dude, thanks for the Prime sub. Appreciate it. Didn't see that those all like came in really quickly. VAC Industries, Bill Nash, thank you guys. Angel of the Odd, thanks for the bits. PC Geek, thanks for the bits. Dude, Omerk, resub Prime, dude, thank you so much. 9 months, dude, 9 months. Let's go. Thank you so much. Hype train going. Wow, it is crazy in here. Seizure warning. I should put that on the bottom. There's like seizure warning, like, because there are lots of flashing lights in here. Dude, Jen Ryan, dude, thanks so much. Resub 51 months. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Dude, long term, long. Oh man, that is 4 years, 3 months. I have to do maths. I owe that to you to do maths if there's months involved that are over a year. So anyways, appreciate it. Oh man, you guys, this is awesome. All right, I don't want to spend too much time on me like hemming and hawing about things that were going on with me. I want to see what you guys are working on. So appreciate it. Let's see. Mamens, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Alex, you rated me somehow with 1. I like it. You got to see my that's actually Samus. Samus for Metroid without her helmet on. And funny story about that, like I was playing Metroid as a kid and I was playing it at my friend's house, and that's where I beat it for the first time. And I remember when I saw it, you're playing the whole game as like this, this astronaut, with a helmet on. And when you beat Mother Brain at the end, she takes her helmet off and you're like, this whole time I was a girl. Like, it was like I remember just being like almost home alone. And so was my friend's mom, which was weird because, back then it was like, video games are for kids, but his mom was like watching too. We were just like, this whole time I've been a girl. Like, now it's no big deal, but like back in the day, that was awesome. And the thing is, like back in the day, it was all word of mouth too. Like everything about Nintendo was word of mouth, unless you got Nintendo Power, Nintendo's Player's Guide, or you called that 800 number and paid $5 a minute. It was all word of mouth. So I was like going to school. I'm like, dude, Samus is a girl. You're a girl in Metroid the whole time. Anyways, I love it. I love it. Anyways, funny story about that. Raisin Girl, hey, thanks for the Prime sub. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Speeding Girl, thank you. Appreciate it. And yeah, but yeah, that was probably one of my top 5 gaming moments ever. Was finding out that Samus was a girl, and that you're playing as a girl the whole time. Like, it's no big deal now, but back then, like, you didn't know until you beat the game, and there was no way to know unless someone else told you. It was great. Great. Dude, Alex, thanks for the bits. Appreciate it. Dude, thank you so much. 256 Hype Train. Thank you. All right. I'll stop blabbing about NES stuff. So Yakto, hey, how's it going? You don't know Yakto? He is the CEO of YWS. If you don't know what YWS is, it's Yakto's Garage, because he basically has a data center in his garage out on the West Coast, Pacific Northwest. So I say YWS. Anyways, on the road still. But still going to find time to deploy and try out Open Project, and also a new Kubernetes-based OpenStack deployment method. I kind of like where this is going. This is interesting. So basically, deploying OpenStack with Kubernetes. I kind of like this. This is like, whoa, this is pretty cool, because then you can describe your environment declaratively. So you could say, hey, I want OpenStack this version with Kubernetes Go, or OpenStack these things configured. I don't know OpenStack this well, but I'm kind of making this up. I want these features on and configured this way in YAML Go, and that's why I like Kubernetes, because it's declarative. You basically tell it what you want, just like Ansible. Ansible's declarative, right? You tell it the state you want, and you hope it does that. I mean, for the most part, it's going to do it if it all goes right. But you say, hey, state, I'm your state machine. This is what I want. I don't care how you get it done, do it. And that's why I love Kubernetes. I want 5 deployments of this Nginx container. Do it. Like, or 1 deployment with 5 replicas and a load balancer. Go do it. And, it doesn't matter which node it's on, or it doesn't matter. Just figure it out and do it. I mean, obviously, they have an API and you have to do it a certain way, but that's why I love declarative things, because otherwise it's tough. It's tough not only for like doing it, like implementing it, but also for documentation to figure out like what version are we on and what's going on and how many replicas did we say we want of Nginx? Oh, let's go check. Well, it's like, with Kubernetes, you kind of, if you're doing GitOps, I should say, if you're doing GitOps, then you just know. So anyways, that's awesome. Yakto, good to see you. There are so many things going on. I feel like I'm missing out on people doing things. VAC Industries, VAC Industries. Dude, thanks for the bits. Appreciate it. 200 bits. Oh my gosh, Hype Train level 2, 92%. Dude, thank you so much. Was there gifted subs in here? I'm getting so confused. Because my thing says there was, but I'm not seeing them on my list. So if there was and I didn't call them out, I'm sorry. This minute. Oh man, okay, so I don't. All right, if you did, I apologize, and I don't see it yet, and I'll see it when I get to it, but I'm looking at Twitch's thing, and it's weird. Anyways, no gifted, thank you. But it says your community has contributed a total of 5 gifted subs and 756 bits. Maybe that's towards my goal. I don't know. No, that's towards this Hype Train. That's why I'm like, okay. Anyways, all right. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is me talking. I need to filter those out. Yeah. Oh, my bug, dude. Thank you. Yeah, that is true. Because I did remove Milkshake, because I was like, it's funny, but I was like, when I was getting banned, I was like trying to trim up like all my commands, and I was like, I don't know, maybe they think this is weird. I kind of went, I just guessing, trying to figure it out. So thanks for the bug. I have a bug. I will fix and deploy that later on. And speaking of Kubernetes, I'm gonna do it in Kubernetes. I'm gonna commit my Git changes in my code. I'm gonna deploy it, and 5 minutes later, it'll be live in my Kubernetes cluster, which is here. So it's pretty fun stuff. No more milkshakes. Yeah, I know. Maybe I'll just put it back. Like, I was getting scared when I got banned, thinking like, maybe some of these commands, I don't know, milkshake and weird stuff. I don't know. I was kidding. I really was like, I was like combing over all my code, trying to think like, how am I getting banned? I think I might know, but we'll see. We'll see. I honestly think it's my fault with code, but I would love them to tell me. Anyways, Angel of the Odd. Hey guys, I'd love to tell you a UDP joke, but I'm not sure you get it. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh yeah, yeah, that's a good one. All right. Yeah, what are you working on? Yeah, that's what I want to figure out. Milimo says PRs and preparing for code reviews. Ooh, that's fun. I mean, it could be fun, might not be fun, but I think it's fun. Awesome. Is this public stuff? Is this work stuff? But awesome. Yeah, it's fun getting a PR together and getting your code into somewhere. It's pretty fun. I enjoy it. I enjoy that process. Code reviews I think they're great too. A lot of times it's just LGMNT. Wait, looks good to me. LGTM. I can never remember the acronym, but I know it right away when I see it. You know, it's thumbs up, looks good to me, you know, and you're like, cool. I try not to do that. I try to ask questions or, you know, hey, did you think of this type of things? People probably are like, geez, Tim, like, freaking just let me merge this thing in. But, I enjoy feedback, even if it's in code feedback, you know, and it's just because I comment on something doesn't mean it's wrong. But yeah, sometimes I've had at work, they're like, Tim. Anyways, PR for code reviews. I'm a fan. Cyber Knight, hey, rejigging services, VNets and stuff. Oh yeah, rejigging services. I'm there with you. That's me every day. I feel like VNets, so VLANs, awesome. So it's virtual nets and stuff. Question: Traefik and CrowdSec behind Cloudflare proxy. Did you use any plugins to get the client IP address versus the Cloudflare IP? This is a great question because I can't remember. So I know exactly what you're talking about. So when you put a proxy behind a proxy or any reverse proxy. You basically have to say, like, you have to be able to inspect. You have to, either trust. You have to be able to trust the proxy upstream, not what you're talking about, which you do. But then when you get those requests forwarded to you, on there should be a header that's like X forwarded for. And that X forwarded for usually says, like, hey, this came from the previous proxy. Again, not what you're talking about, but I'm just trying to give some context. But you don't want to know, like, hey, this IP came from the proxy. You want to know who the original request was. So if client hits Cloudflare proxy and then that gets forwarded to Traefik, you want to know who the client was, the original IP. Why is that important? Because you want to use CrowdSec to match that IP against a list of IP addresses to see if they're good or bad. So to be honest, I can't remember. I thought they were, like, when I looked at that a while ago, I thought that Traefik supported this thing called real IP, which is like, you know, it's like how many headers can you add to figure out the real IP? But I thought there was like something like X real IP or something weird like that, where you could look at it and you could, you know, and then that's what CrowdSec would look at to say, you know, this is what I used to match it. So it's been a while since I looked at it. Hopefully that gives you some context, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I mean, everyone who's doing this whole double reverse proxy thing has the same issue, right? Right? Because the X forwarded for is going to be another reverse proxy. So it's like double reverse proxy. And typically the X forwarded for, if you don't have two reverse proxies, it's the client itself. But because you're doing two reverse proxies, you need someone to preserve the real IP in the header so that you can inspect it and say, hey, you know, this is match it against the list that CrowdSec has. So, I don't know the answer. I hope that's like a lot of context to like help you down the right path. I don't think I used a plugin because I think there was a bug at the time that they didn't support real IP, I think is what it's called. And I keep saying real IP. I don't remember if that's what it's called, but that's what I remember it being called. So, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, and but I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. I could do some research later. If you ping me in Discord, I could help do some research and figure out, because I would like to know too. Because CrowdSec keeps coming back up, and might be another time to give it another chance to see how it's doing. So Angel of the Odd, diagnosing a fault in the wheelchair. Ooh, that is not good. Yeah, that is not good. Like any fault in a wheelchair, that is not good. Well, I hope you figure it out. I hope it's not dangerous. I don't know what the faults could be, but does not sound good. So hopefully you figure it out. Hopefully you figure it out. PC Geek, I found out that a buddy of mine's new job is working at a tech recycler. Oh man, you have a new best friend now. He gets like 50% off discount and might be getting some UniFi's US 16 XGs. It's older aggregation 10 gigabit switch, both with 12 SFP plus. Whoa, and 4 RJ45 10 gigabit. Woo, that is one that's quite the combo. Having 12 SFP plus and 4 RJ45 10 gig. That is so it's a 16 porter, but that is weird. I'm trying to think. Like I have a 16 port switch back there. You know, they're like this big. They're awesome. But man, what a choice. But then on top of that, like even if you don't get a discount, you still get like first dibs on stuff. I'm sure, right? You get first dibs. So it's like, you know, I remember like, yeah, like, you know, if you ever worked at any, you know, thrift store or anything like that, you know, people would, you know, get first dibs on stuff. And so it's like, man, even if there wasn't a discount, you're like, sweet, if this doesn't sell at the end of the day, I'm buying it. And so I'm assuming that's what your friend's going to do. You're going to be collecting even more stuff now. You're going to be collecting even more stuff. So that's awesome. That's awesome. So now you got the inside on Recycler. Yeah, that is sweet. That would be bad news for me. That would be bad news for me. I'm trying to like get rid of stuff, and I've been doing a pretty good job at it. I have my next thing to drop off at the recycler are 2 1440p monitors. One's still in the box, just because like what am I going to sell them for? $20? And I'd rather just like donate them to the recycler to then sell them, because like I just want to be done with it. It's like, for me, it's like a lot of the times it's not even worth the time to put it on, Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist to sell, to then, get haggled down to $5. Like, so a lot of the times I just donate it there. So, but yeah, awesome. That is awesome, man. You're gonna run into so many odd things. And so you're gonna run into so many, like when I go to our recycler, which is Free Geek. Not only are there cool things there, like things I could use, but there's so much nostalgia that I'm like, oh, I remember that. Maybe I should build this thing again. Like I've had this idea after visiting the recycler by me to rebuild my first PC ever. Why? I don't know. But I'm like, yeah, my HP Pavilion, 500 megahertz K62 in there. Yeah, why not? And so, okay, it's kind of like maybe I will, just because that was my first PC ever. Maybe I will, and build it just like I had it, like at its peak. Voodoo graphics card and Sound Blaster sound card, but that's kind of out the window. I just donated like 5 Sound Blaster sound cards. So, anyways, I'd love to rebuild mine. See, this is exactly what happens when that happens. So, anyways, I know it's gonna happen to you too. It is. Owen loves rice. I love rice too. I made some yummy shrimp fried rice the other day. Have you been eating rice, Tim? Speaking of. So Owen loves rice. Every time I read that, I'm just like, yeah, I love rice too. I do love rice. Have I been eating rice? Did I eat rice yesterday? I didn't eat rice yesterday because we had pizza, homemade pizza. But I did have rice the day before. And I think I've had rice 3 times this week. So yeah. For me, it's like, my grandmother's Japanese, and so rice has always been like on the side, like it's a side dish. Like think of your starch, or for any culture. For me, it was always rice. So, and it mixes with so many things. Like we had so many things with rice. I mean, like I eat chili with rice. That is not normal. I don't think that's normal, but I'll take a bowl of rice and put chili on top because half of it was, my Japanese grandma's heritage, and the other half was my American grandfather's heritage. So they just mixed them together. Eggs and rice. I mean, you didn't name it. Like I've eaten rice with milk and cinnamon and sugar on it, like as breakfast, and it's actually pretty good. Because we'd make so much rice, you'd have leftover rice, and so it's like, what are we gonna make with it? So, I I love rice too. Anyways, shrimp fried rice sounds great because I love seafood too. So it's like, oh man, those are both what I like. Budney, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Millimos, Millimo. Oh, and moving from GoDaddy to Cloudflare. All right. So, so I've done that migration before for a couple times, personal stuff and some other people. Yeah. So you're probably going to move them. So first you'll move your DNS and then you'll probably use them as your registrar, probably because they're pretty good. And then it's all automated and even payments automated too. Not that GoDaddy wasn't. But yeah, I'm a fan because Cloudflare, their free tier is just like, man, I don't know how they do it. Well, I know how they do it. They already have the infrastructure in place. So like, why not get some credit card information in their system just in case one day someone wants to upgrade and do something else. So, but it's pretty awesome. I'm still so surprised that like they offer their proxy and tunnels for free. Like that costs money to run. And I know they're operating at a scale where they're just like, they focus on enterprise people and they're operating at a scale to where they're like, is the extra 0.5% income worth it to charge people for and maybe lose those customers? Probably not. So it's pretty awesome that they do that. So it's Buy Daddy. Yeah, that's right. Buy Daddy. That is right. Or Gone Daddy. I like it. Alex, video. Tim hasn't peeled the plastic off the screen of that device. Bugs me every time. Intro video. Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I did peel it later in that video, but yeah, I saved it for later in that video. I should update my intro video for this because it's so old, but now it's like nostalgia. It's like my first server rack. So now I'm kind of like, I'm kind of keeping it. So anyways, yeah. I'm guilty of doing that sometimes too. Sometimes I go the whole video. I'm like, oh, I never pulled off the thing. Like rookie mistake. Like even if I'm not going to film it, I still need to pull it off because then it just looks like I'm just like pulling things out of boxes and putting them back in, which kind of happens sometimes, to be honest. It just depends. But yeah, I know what you mean. Whenever I see that little tab, I'm just like, ooh, I got to peel it. Millimo. Most importantly, waiting for USA versus Canada at 7 p.m. CST. Oh, yeah. I think we're talking hockey. I'm sorry. I don't. I think we're talking hockey. I could be wrong, but maybe it is. Hockey. I assume. Yeah. I'm just guessing, but yeah, I should tune in to see what's going on. 7 p.m. CST. So that you're in CST too. So that's about 3.5 hours. All right, I might have to turn it on while I'm eating just to see. Sorry, Gibson. Hey, how's it going? Sup? Here from your 2025 Homelab tour video. Love the content. Hey, yeah, no problem. Yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for making it all the way over from YouTube. It is a large leap, and I say that half jokingly. Because it's only a single click, but there's so much that has to go right for someone to discover that there's a link in there and then want to click on it and then land here when I'm live. So yeah, then welcome all the way over, across the chasm from YouTube. Appreciate it. Budney, still testing things in the energy efficiency rabbit hole. Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, I think last week you were talking about underclocking stuff, and one PSU died. But got my new PSU, lost it. Don't ask. Bought another one. Sounds like me, like losing things. But man, losing a whole PSU, that's I think that's next level. I don't think I've lost anything that big. I lose things that are like, maybe. I shouldn't say that. Like my wallet. The usual suspects, wallets, glasses, keys, like, half the time I'm walking around with my glasses on my head and I'm like, have you seen my glasses? I have those kind of days a lot. So dude, thank you so much. Teton. Dude, subscribe 1 month. Thank you so much. Thank you for the sub. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. But yeah, I've been down that rabbit hole. It's fun. It's fun to tweak stuff for sure. Especially if you can still get stuff done. It's like a win-win. If you can get stuff done, you can save energy, which turns into saving money. Win-win. Hopefully, the time you put into it, you'll recoup the cost at some point. But even if you don't, it's still fun to figure that stuff out because then you could tell the next person too. Well, sorry, Master AIDS. Hi, greetings from the Philippines. Hey, thank you. Hey, welcome. Thank you all the way, you know, greetings from US, from Minnesota. Beat it. I must admit that I'm in bed now, late here in Sweden. Well, thank you for tuning in from Sweden. It is late for you guys. I think you guys are at least +7, maybe 8. So it's either, I'm guessing, it's either 10 to 11 or 10 to midnight there. So yeah, I'm betting, if I had to bet, I don't think you're a +8, I'm a +7. So I bet it's 10:51 there. I don't know. I'm totally guessing. I should know this, but I think you guys are 7 hours ahead of me. So I'm betting 10:51. Oh yeah, got it. 22:51, got it. Yep, awesome. That was just a guess, because I know most of Europe is like +6, but once you start getting further out east-ish, you know, I don't know. I'm bad at geography too, so well, that was a good guess. But I know, like, crossing the pond, it's +6 hours for me, roughly. So Turkey, 12:51. Wow, they even further east. Yeah, it is late there, 1 in the morning, all the way from Turkey. Dude, thank you. Thanks for being here. That is awesome. Wow, Turkey, that is awesome. Yeah, man, thank you guys. NM4. Just got my UNAS Pro, speaking of UNAS, and about to order the special edition HL15. Would you recommend getting an open rack or enclosed rack for the basement? Wow, big purchases going on. Open rack or closed? You know, this is so I mean, it's going to be based on your preference. I'll tell you why I went from an open rack to closed. How about that? Because then that might help you decide on what's best for you. Because at the end of the day, it's for you. It depends on money. It depends on a whole bunch of things. But the reason I moved from a 4-post open to a closed, one, for me personally, it looks better. You know, I put my stuff on YouTube, so I was like, I want this, you know, closed rack. It has glass, and I imagined right away I could put RGB in it. You know, totally superficial stuff. But the thing of, you know, of substance, why I moved and why I think it's a good move. One, noise. You know, it'll contain that noise into there somewhat. The downside is more heat, right? Heat has very few places to escape. But the other upside is cooling might be a little more efficient, because, you know, it creates kind of a vacuum, so cool air has to come in from the front and exit out the back. Just open the back door, which I do most of the time. The other thing is cabling. Like, cabling is so much easier when you have an enclosed rack. Not that it's easier. How about this? It's easier to hide stuff, you know, and so it looks nice and neat when you have an enclosed rack, because, you know, no one can see the cables until I open them up. And then the other nice thing, I will say, if you do get a closed rack, make sure it has, you know, panels on the side that you can still get in there and do the stuff. So for me, it was like, okay, I have 4 panels, you know, 2 top, 2 bottom, plus a door that swings open in the back, and plus a door in the front. I was kind of like, okay, like, you know, I could almost make this an open rack if I just take off the doors and take off the panels, and there you go. So I don't know, but they're, you know, they're a lot more expensive. So I don't know, but then, you know, clothes, you have to deal with, you know, I guess other things. I think the only downside is heat. I mean, it doesn't take up too much more space. I mean, we're talking a couple inches on each side. So yeah. So, I mean, it's totally up to you. Totally up to you. Oh yeah, soundproofing. Yeah, that's gotta be, yeah, I like it. Soundproofing, you could do that too, for sure. Alcaeus, hey, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Thanks for the follow, appreciate it. But yeah, you could. I thought about it too. I've watched YouTube videos on it before about putting like sound paneling in there, but I feel like that will soak up some heat, but I don't have that much heat in there. So yeah, it's, you could probably go crazy. I watched a video on like making a soundproof. Was it what's his name? I don't remember, but he was basically trying to make a soundproof PC. And I was like, you know, I could just apply this, but I don't remember if it turned out okay. But yeah, so really it's going to be your personal preference. Those are the reasons why I switched. Would I go back to a 4-post open? Probably not, because I can hide things so easily and it looks nice and neat, right? And so, you know, my wife, you know, obviously lives here, and I just, you know, when it was an open 4-post rack, it just didn't look tidy. And I thought, if I'm going to have this, you know, pretty decent sized server in here, I got to make it look tidy. Like, I don't want to make this, and again, this is me trying to show it on YouTube, but I also like to, you know, customize stuff and make things look nice and neat for the most part outside of this room. And so I thought, well, if someone ever comes and looks at it, I want them to be like, oh, that's awesome. I don't know what it does, but it looks really cool in here versus like, that looks scary in there. And so that's why I have stuff on the wall. The wall looks kind of scary, but my server rack as it stands looks pretty nice and neat. Cabling looks neat. So then even if someone's like, I have no idea what that does, but kind of looks like a time machine, but the wiring looks really nice. And that's usually what people tell me. It looks like a time machine. So anyways, it's totally up to you. I'm sure there are a lot more pros and cons. 4-post is definitely cheaper. But again, like, I think if you get one and you start doing it and you start loading it up, you might think someday, man, I wish I would have gotten close. So you could start that way. So anyways, let's see. But man, you are getting some goodies. It is like Christmas there, man. UNAS Pro and HL15. Not G10. Struggling to find some mental energy to finish my server rebuild as I've been sick the past week. LOL. Hey, it's okay. It's okay. It's totally okay. It's not your job. I don't think. It's probably just a hobby. So I think it's totally fine. It's totally fine. I know what you mean about having the mental energy to do stuff. I mean, I kind of ran into that last night. I was like, you know, I could stay up till like 1 in the morning and finish my video and then get up pretty early too and then work on the thumbnail and then get it out by 10. But I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I don't have the mental energy to do it. Just because like I already have like probably 50 hours into this video. I'm just like, yeah. So anyways, I totally get it about the mental energy. Hey, as long as someone's not depending on it for something and it's just something you're doing as a hobby, yeah, it's totally fine. Especially if you've been sick. You like get a pass on most things if you're sick, for sure. You do, for sure. PC Geek, I would pick enclosed, yeah, for keeping dust out, yeah, for sure. But you can always get open and then put plywood panels. There you go. I did consider that. I totally forgot about that. So I was considering, before I bought my enclosed one, I was gonna do just that, and I was gonna get, I was gonna put these fancy like panels on the outside. Sometimes you see them in the back of YouTubers' videos or gaming videos. You'll see those panels that are like geometric shapes and create cool shadows. I was like, maybe I can cut a piece of board, screw it onto there, and then put these nice panels on there. You know, I was totally gonna go that route. And then I was like, well, I need more space too, so I'm just gonna buy an enclosed one. But it's funny you say that, because that was, I hunted that down for, you know, I don't know, a couple days where I was like, okay, I can totally do it. But then I was like, man, this is a lot of work and I need some more space. So, but you totally can. You totally can, those ones for sure. I'm sure lots of people have, for sure. If you're handy with wood, yeah. Because all it would take, but you know, plywood, a couple of maybe 2x4s for the inside to keep it from sliding around, or maybe not even that. And then you'd have to screw it in somehow. I don't remember what I was going to do for that. I think my idea was like, well, if I could push it up against those 4 posts and I would have like blocks, you know, 2x2s or something, instead of 2x4s, just split them down and then screw them in. Then I could kind of get it against it, and then I could, I don't know, wrap something up. It was going to be so jank. It was going to be jank. Alex, hoping to see Tim's studio tour in 2025. Discover how the magic happens soon. Yeah, maybe. It's yeah, so Alex knows, like, he definitely helped me out on some lighting, like, I had a ton of questions about, like, what people use for lighting, and Alex had all of this stuff, and it was around Black Friday, and all the stuff was, like, on Black Friday sale, so I did make a pretty big purchase, and it's one of the few times that I've, like, bought stuff, but haven't opened it yet. Like, I'm usually not that person. Like, I'm usually, like, buy it, open it, make sure it works, okay, like, then I'll, you know, compartmentalize it, do it later. This is like, I didn't even open this stuff. Anyways, so I am going to be redoing my office in here, and you'll kind of see like a quarter step to where I'm going to be in this next video tomorrow. It's a quarter step to my new studio. I can't dedicate like a full week to redoing all this. So I realized, okay, like between each video, I can take 1 or 2 days to kind of like stage some stuff and convert some stuff over to where I want to be. So that's what you're going to see. I think you'll see it just progress. I think it is. It's not going to be a big bang release. I'm going to iterate on it. How about that? But yeah, it's hopefully I can document it sometime and show it because there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So, Kunefi, hey, how's it going? Hi everyone, good to see you. I am Upa. Hey, I'm in this dilemma about my server. I have the consumer grade powerful PC turned into a server that's giving me 7 watts while using 20 watts on idle. But I've seen a lot of people using mini PCs nowadays. I wonder, should I keep it or opt out for a mini PC? You know, that's tough. Like, I talk up mini PCs a lot. I have 3 here at home that are running Proxmox in a cluster that are running my home Kubernetes cluster. I think they're really, really capable. At the end of the day, it probably is saving power, but I'm running them pretty hard, So it's kind of up to you. I mean, it depends, right? And so I'll talk about like some of the reasons why you might. I mean, energy, you talked about it, is a big one. Like, hey, if I'm 20 watts idle, 70, to do the stuff, like, is that really, really worth it? And so, mini PCs, you're going to be 20 probably at almost full. Probably not. Depends on what you're doing. And that's the key takeaway. It depends on what you're doing. Like if that machine is your Docker host and has all of your containers on there, it can probably handle it. And then on top of that, if it's doing some flex transcoding and stuff like that, and you have quick sync on that CPU on that mini PC, this hypothetical mini PC, it can probably handle it. But where you're going to run into issues is, okay, if it's your hypervisor, you're going to run into, okay, do I have enough NVMe slots for the drives or enough drive slots for storing my virtual machines and running them? And then it's going to be RAM. Because most things we run aren't pegging your CPU at all. I mean, if you look at, the aggregate over a day, it's probably idle plus or 2, percent CPU all day long. They don't do much until you start doing stuff. And even like on a Plex transcoding and stuff, it's using quick sync. It's pretty efficient, pretty fast, works great. And it's not even really using the CPU. So it really depends on what you're hosting and how much drive space you need and how much RAM you need. That being said, my 3 Intel NUC mini PCs only have 64 gigs of RAM. I say only, but there's 3 of them, 64 gigs of RAM, 1 NVMe, and 1 SSD, and I'm able to run, Proxmox cluster of 3, and then within there's 3 to 4 VMs each, running on each one of those to be my Kubernetes cluster. So, and it's fine. It's running it fine. I mean, they run kind of hot, that's kind of what you run into. So, I mean, it really depends. It really depends on what you want to do. I always, so now I think like, okay, if I was gonna build something today and I didn't have something today, I would start with a mini PC and work my way up. And so I've worked my way down to a mini PC for some stuff, right? I still have my 1U servers for other things. But here at home, I have 3 mini PCs and it's like, doing everything that I need, minus my NAS. NAS is a totally different story, right? That's another thing too. You're gonna have to decide, like, on these mini PCs, if it is your Homelab and doing stuff, is 2.5 gigabit gonna be enough? Because that's what we see on most mini PCs. I mean, if we're talking MSO1, all right, that's in a class of its own. So if you're talking MSO1, that's like everyone's dream mini PC. I don't consider the MSO1 a mini PC. It's a mini workstation. I think that's even what they call it too. I mean, it's basically like, hey, I have a Windows workstation here, a Linux workstation that I built custom, but I don't want the big thing anymore, so I'm going to go with this. And this is my all day, every day, machine that I use. Although it's great for servers. So, but yeah, I mean, if you're okay with 2.5 gigabit LAN, single, sometimes you'll get double. If you're okay with a max of 64 gigs of RAM, roughly, depending on the chipset and the CPU you get in there, maybe 128, maybe 192, which is super weird with with some Intels, the latest ones, or AMD, whatever you want to do. And then if you're okay with maybe 1 NVMe and maybe 1 SSD, then I think, yeah, why not? Why not try it? But yeah, the other thing is you got to spend money to do this. Like you already have your old PC and it's working, right? So it's like, okay, well then what does that machine do? You know, if for me, I'm just like, okay, what can this machine do now? And I just start collecting them. I'm like, you know, it's a hand-me-down. This used to do this role. Now it's doing this role that this one was doing, and this one's now doing this role. You know, it's like hand-me-down clothing, but it's hand-me-down roles with Homelab. So yeah, I don't know. These are great questions. I'm probably asking more questions than I'm answering because it really depends on what you want to do. And so hopefully that just gives you a little more context or things to think about. So, because I can't answer that for you. I asked a ton of questions and somewhere you're going to have to answer all of those and then decide like, is this worth spending money on? Or is it worth just using what I already have, you know? And then if you do switch, then, you know, who gets the old stuff, you know? Svenu, is Proxmox Helper Scripts safe again? I didn't know that it wasn't. So I know that, so I kind of know the history, like, I mean, you know, it was built and maintained by a person named T-Tech. Hey, dude, Cybet, hey, thanks for the resub. 33 months. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. 33 months, almost 3 years. Gotta do maths. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. So what is Proxmox Helper Scripts? It's a collection of scripts that you can run on Proxmox, bunch of bash scripts that will do some automation for you. What is that automation? Well, it could be anything like creating LXC containers for you. Like, right? If you want Home Assistant LXC container, you run one script, boom, 2 seconds later, you got Home Assistant running. And so there are lots of scripts like that for different applications. But then there are also scripts for managing your Proxmox server, like getting rid of the nag screen, you know, turning on, not beta, but turning on updates, you know, the free updates, getting, you know, and then there are scripts that will help you, loud noise. Then there are scripts that will help you do things like manage virtual machines, like create virtual machines. So anyways, just giving people context on what it is. So that was created by a person named T-Tech. He unfortunately passed away. He handed it over to the community, and now the community's managing it. I don't know that there was something unsafe with it, so I might not be informed, but I knew that there was always a disclaimer to say, hey, there are people out there buying domains that kind of look like they are Proxmox Helper Scripts, but they're not really. And so that's a disclaimer I think they have somewhere, either in their code or on GitHub or on their website to say like, hey, people are out there trying to do this thing, right? And they're not really us. And so I don't know if that really happened. I don't, you know, that's a disclaimer. And that's a huge disclaimer with any script you run from the web, right? If you're gonna, you know, wget and then pipe that out to bash, you know, you're just gonna execute something from the internet, right? It'd be like, you know, the equivalent of downloading a script on your machine and just letting them do whatever they want. And for the most part, the Proxmox ones, I've never had problems. But, you know, executing scripts from the web, it's always good to just kind of like look at it. Are there weird things in here? And if you have no idea, what the script even does, that's fine. Like, no one has to know how to program in bash, but you could very easily copy and paste that script into whatever, some GPT, some helper, and say, explain this to me. Is this safe? You know, and it'll do it in 2 seconds. All of that aside, I don't know if maybe you went to one of those sites that, you know, someone stood up to make it look like it was Proxmox Helper Scripts. But I would recommend, I'm not even going to tell you to go to the domain. Just go to GitHub and you know, search for Helper Scripts, I think it's just called now, and go to their repo, and on their repo, they'll have the official link on how to get there. And so I think another thing too is like, I have a video on it, and you know, I'm hesitant to execute scripts from places, although I do, right? Although I do. They're, you know, if someone has, you know, execute this thing, IO, pipe it out to bash, and it's going to be running, I usually do it. I'm not going to lie. But usually from places I trust. And so what in that video, I talk about like how to like lock down like your script execution to a very specific commit. Now this is going like pretty far, but it's basically saying, hey, like since it's all based on Git has history. And so I'm going to execute this script at this point in time. And there's no way they can change it, right? Unless they go back and rewrite commits, yada, yada, yada. I mean, there are ways, but for the most part, if you do that, instead of running the latest version, you can assure that like, hey, the next time you run it, it's exactly the same thing. So anyways, I don't know. But that's a good reminder to say, hey, like look into the script you're executing. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying you have to be an expert in Bash, but worst case scenario, like I said, like go to ChatGPT or whatever LLM you want and just paste it in there and just say, is this safe? And for the most part, it's the LLM is going to explain it to you and say, here's what it's going to do. Looks good to me, something like that. So anyways, I didn't know it was unsafe. I hope it is safe because it's such a wonderful collection of utilities to use. It really is a great way to manage Proxmox. And if you want applications really easily and you want to manage, Proxmox like an app engine, to run things, to run applications in LXCs, that's by far like the best way to go for sure. So anyways, yeah, good question. Brought up a lot of good topics. So I hope it's safe because it's such a wonderful project, such a wonderful community. And again, like it made like Proxmox super accessible to people, who might not have used it otherwise, right? And people might say, I don't know what a hypervisor is. Why am I running a hypervisor? I don't want virtual machines. But then they had this tool called, Helper Scripts where they could execute these scripts and all of a sudden, they have a Homelab with, Home Assistant, Plex, Jellyfin, 15 apps running with very little, effort on their part. So I think it's super nice to it's making Proxmox accessible. So anyways, Budney, hey, I want to do something similar with my rack down the road. Oh, convert it. Convert it for sure. I think it was either convert it or make it nice or do it enclosed, I think. But yeah, yes. Dedicated stream machine makes sense if you stream very demanding games. Otherwise, it's just a complicated mess. Gibson, hey, yeah, that's good feedback. I kind of feel like that too. Like managing one thing off to the side kind of is like, do I want to manage yet another thing just because, whoa, dude, do I want to manage just another thing, off to the side? I will say though, like having a dedicated stream machine where it's like, okay, this is only for streams. I mean, me like thinking about the 15 things I have to do before I start, it kind of sounds nice, but at the same time, I'm going to have to do the same thing if it's a different machine anyway. So anyway, I kind of like the all-in-one content creation, streaming, work, code, meetings, you name it. And I've been an all-in-one person for a long time. So dude, thank you so much. Oh man, what is going on? Dude, Asclepius, dude, thank you so much for, 5 gifted subs. I appreciate it. Now I'm starting to see gifted sub stuff down here. Hopefully there wasn't a lot in the past. Sleepius, so level 1 geek, big crypto cat, Munzie, lacerated digits, ilude _! Dude, enjoy your gifted sub, from Cybit. Dude, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Was that Cybit? Yeah. No, sorry, Asclepius. This is why I shouldn't play too much. I scroll too much. Asclepius, dude, thank you so much. I also kind of like Asclepius. It's like a fantasy name for someone who's just sleeps a lot. Sir Sleep a lot. Sir Sleep a lot with his sidekick Asclepius. Thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. Lesser Train. It's a play on Asclepius. Asclepius. I don't know what Asclepius is doing. Sorry, I was reading that. I love what you're doing. I appreciate it. No, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I just try to just do stuff that's fun to me. And I don't know what Asclepius is, so I got to look that up. And thank you. No, thank you. I appreciate it. Lesser Train, hey, currently struggling with Cisco switch and UniFi router. I want to have the device on the router be on an IoT VLAN. How to define that on the switch? Currently, devices don't have internet when I put them on the switch VLAN. So this is basically saying, hey, I have UniFi as my gateway. It manages my VLANs, like it owns the definition of VLANs, and then I have this Cisco switch connected to it. And when I have an IoT VLAN, and when I put a switch on the IoT VLAN, how do I define that on the switch? Currently, devices don't have internet. Oh. So is your switch, do you have a smart switch? Like, first of all, like, hey, is this Cisco switch? It's Cisco, so it's going to be like, hey, does it understands VLANs? Yes. Then, I mean, first thing, like, this is me not being a network person trying to figure it out, myself. But first, the uplink. The uplink, I think, has to be all packets, tagged and untagged. Basically a trunk port, right? So from UniFi to switch, all packets untagged. The default, if you're in UniFi world, it's the default network. And then so that will ensure that switch then, when you configure it, like all of those packets, the ones that may or may not be tagged, will flow through then to the switch. And then I would assume it's as simple as taking that switch port and then on that switch port, configuring that VLAN, I assume. But then, because then I assume that's how it worked. Because then I was like, well, then your device doesn't need to know about it unless you're doing the default network on UniFi. So I think that's it. I mean, I've done it on dumb switches before where I'm like, okay, well, everything on the switch below is going to be on the same VLAN. So I just, on the switch port, like uplink to that dumb switch, I just set the VLAN there. But I don't know. I think that's it. I assume untagged for VLAN, default VLAN 1, tagged for everything else. That's typically a trunk uplink setup. Cisco actually has trunk mode in their config. Then it's all VLANs. All right. Well, I hope that helps. And coding. Hey, from Chile. Hey, hello from US. It's a big salute. How's it going? Could be firewall rules. And there you go. Could be firewall rules too. Yeah, default VLANs usually don't have any rules yet, or your uplink needs to be trunked to pass all VLANs. There you go. Yeah, I like it. Shot looks good, Tim. Oh, thanks. Yeah, this is messy. This is messy shot. This is kind of like I'm pointing over there because it's real messy behind me, and there's kind of a blank wall, which is kind of what I'm switching up. Jenna Ryan, watching 40 terabytes resilvering, trying not to panic. Been there. I've been there multiple times. 40 terabytes though. I don't know if I was up to 40 terabytes when it did. So yeah, that's kind of nerve-wracking. You're just kind of like, hope it works. Hope other drives don't fail. Hope the power doesn't go out. Hopefully I don't accidentally, do other things. Yeah. I'm guilty of accidentally doing other things when things are already wrong. Because I'm so nervous about like what's going on, and I'm checking on it, but I'm working on other things on the side, and then it's like accidentally, disable the NIC on the machine that's resilvering or something weird, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? But yeah, I'm sure it'll go fine. If it doesn't, you got to start all over, right? With another drive and start all over again, unless the other drive fails. But we don't need to wait for that. Owen, hey, can't wait for an upcoming video. Cool. Yeah, it'll be out tomorrow. It's gonna, I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's a lot of mini racks and it's a lot of UniFi stuff because that fits nicely inside of a mini rack. And so, I was like thinking like, should I mix this up? But like, yeah, especially when it comes to like 3D printing and UniFi stuff and mini racks, like so many people put UniFi stuff in their mini rack because there are so many prints already. I was like, all right, I gotta go all in on this. So anyways, even if you don't like their stuff, I hope you'll find something in it and maybe get some ideas from the things that I printed on ways you could do things different or change things. So it's pretty fun. Hey, do you know a lot about computer components? Lingen cacao. Lingen cacao. Sorry, that's fun to say. Yeah, I mean, maybe. Depending on what the components are, but happy to try to answer questions. Lingen, cacao, I like it. But yeah, yes, kind of depends on what it is. But yeah, throw it at me, and if I fail, then yeah, no, I don't. Munzie, woohoo! Just got back from vacation. Munzie, that is awesome. But usually people say woohoo when you're leaving. I'm kind of there with you. When I get back from vacation, I'm like, yes, I don't know. Always try to plan my vacations where there's still yet another day, and you're getting back on Saturday. Good move. Where you still have another day to kind of like do whatever you want, plus another day. For me, I definitely like getting back on Fridays or Saturdays, because then it's like I kind of still have my weekend, and I'm not rushing like back into work. So pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Vacation life. Yeah, if you get back from vacation feeling unhappy a lot, it's time to rethink either vacation or life. Yeah, I kind of agree. But I'm saying like sometimes vacations, it depends on what they are. They're just a hustle, bustle, schedule, do this, do that. You're not at home, you're not in your bed, you're, I kind of sound like a curmudgeon. But you know what I mean. Things are just different. And I think humans in general are creatures of habit, and so towards the end of things being different for so long, you kind of want, some of your habits back. So, but I agree. I get kind of curmudgeon-y towards the end of vacations, like the whole going home thing. I don't like. So the going home and unpacking, I don't. But when I get home, like, oh yeah, this is my bed. Oh yeah, all the things you're kind of used to. You're just like, oh yeah. Anyways, but yeah, I kind of agree there. Feel free to pop a question in chat. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Piece of Geek. Let's see. Go all on VLAN. Something good to go. Sorry, it was like things that look like links get filtered out. Kunefi. So I need to work on everything about my Homelab. It's messy because my job and I can't use time efficient. Hey, that's fine. That's fine. Totally fine. I know exactly what you mean. And again, like it's a hobby. Like it's not a race, it's a marathon. Like, and if you ever start feeling like it's also work, like take a break, do something else. Like, I've been there. I've been there before with so many things. And it's good to have like two hobbies, because then you can like flip flop back and forth and do something else. So like, like with me getting into 3D printing now and having fun, it's kind of like cool. If I'm like banging my head against the wall with some hardware stuff in here and on the video, I'm like, oh yeah, I got a couple things I want to print and, take a break for 30 minutes. And I'm like, all right, let's do this again. But yeah, it's totally fine. You'll get there. And again, it's just fun. It's a hobby. All right. Ling and Cacao. I'm searching to upgrade my PC and I found an MSI B550-A Pro and a Ryzen 5 5600X used for $120. Is that a good deal? I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much things go for used parts. But what I would do is search eBay for those two things. Search eBay for those two things really quick and just, gut check. Like, how much does this sell, roughly on their own? It might be a little bit higher. But then what I would also do is like, when I start to see like 120 and it might be a little bit older, or it might be, I don't know if it's a 556, is a 5600 older? I usually don't do this. Is a 5600X. Oh yeah, I don't know when it was released, but usually don't do this. But I'm trying to figure out. Well, yeah, the CPU alone, is $120. So no, that is newer. I mean, I don't know. Just gut check for me. Just like looking at Amazon in 2 seconds, it looks like that CPU alone sells for that much. So maybe it might be. And that's what I was gonna say. Like I wasn't sure when this was released, but like combo deals, which maybe you're referring to, yeah, like. Like Micro Center, like, even though they've sponsored my stuff, this is not sponsored. Like, they have a lot of great combo deals sometimes, and you'll find, like, if I don't know if that's a great deal. I wish I could answer that question, just because I haven't been in the market to shop for a Ryzen 5 lately. But if that's a combo deal, I would look at, hey, how much is the motherboard by itself? How much is the CPU by itself? What's the total off I'm gonna get? It seems like a lot, because when I just looked on Amazon, that CPU itself is more than that. But then again, I don't know that MSI board, so. Hey, post it in Discord. We'll I would love to like research it some more because I don't want to give you like, you know, a recommendation to go, yeah, it's a great price without totally knowing. I'm not up to date on my prices for parts right now. But yeah, if you want, throw it in Discord in the hardware section. We'll figure it out. Is it a good deal or not? We should yeah, there should be a website. Is this a deal or not? You know, where it like tracks all of the prices for all of the things for all of the stores, and you can kind of put it in, and you're just like, is this a deal or is this just like them faking and saying it's on sale, but it's been on sale since the day it was released? You know those kind of things. So, I think this could go far. This idea I have, I shouldn't have said it publicly. Probably something exists out there. Anyways, yeah, like Camel, yeah, but Camel is just tracking Amazon prices, right? And I get it that they track those prices over time, and you'll see like it's the lowest Amazon price yet. But some people could launch them higher. You know what I mean? Like they could sell it at Best Buy for a certain price and always sell it on Amazon $10 higher because someone's got to pay for shipping and all this stuff. And so if you're only looking at Amazon and you're like, yeah, this is the lowest price ever on Amazon, if you go direct or go through Amazon or some other retailer they're not tracking, it still could be cheaper. So, but yeah, that's a good price. You know, back in the day when I first found Camel, I was like, man, these are such great people. Like, what a great service. They're doing such a great service for people to track prices over time. And like, I thought it was all like altruistic, like they were just doing it for the good of the shopper, you know? Then I realized like, oh, they put affiliate codes on every single thing everything buys. And as they should, like, hey, they're doing an awesome service. It costs a lot of money to track Amazon prices. I know this because I've done things that have tracked Amazon prices, and it's not hard for them to give up. A lot of infrastructure is required. But when I first looked into it, you know, I was super naive. I was like, man, this is great. What a great service. But yeah, affiliate codes on everything you buy. And I'm like, oh, that's how they're making money. So, but yeah, pretty awesome. All right, let's see this next one. David Kopp, hey, speaking of low power, moving to 3 3X Pi 4s, USB drives from Gluster FS to Gluster 3X Pi 5 Ceph clusters. Wow. Having to switch their racks due to Pi 5s, hat too tall. Pi 5's done now. Put the Pi 4s in. Wow, that is crazy. So you have a Gluster cluster, distributed storage on Pis, and upgrading from 4 to 5. That is awesome. That is awesome. That is like so far beyond like anything that I've done as far as storage goes. But USB drives, wow, that is cool. Yeah, what a perfect little like lab to test that stuff out in. And maybe it's beyond testing. It kind of sounds like it, but what a perfect like have 3 drives or have 3 Pis, have 3 USB drives, and just like in something that can fit this big, be able to test Gluster or Ceph or anything else you want. It's yeah, such a such a fun little project. But big on capabilities though. I say little, like it's physically small, but like, you know, mind share and like how much talent it takes to figure all that stuff out is big. Kunefi, so I was talking about cold weather. What heating automations, IoT devices do you use? Probably need some advice on that recently. Yeah, I have a lot. And I think soon, I'm gonna walk through a lot of my home assistant automations because I mean, mine's not anything like, wow, that guy's like doing crazy stuff, but I have a lot of stuff and I figured a lot of stuff out, and people ask a lot. But on the heating and cooling side, it's pretty basic. I have, 3 smart thermostats. Why do you have 3? Because I have 3 zones. Why do you have 3 zones? Well, because we have radiant heat. So we have radiators. A lot of homes are like this in Minnesota, or old homes in general. They heat it with hot water, have radiators. UK too, right? Or Europe in general, because it's pretty efficient. And so, those I have, a certain temperature. It's not like forced heat, because forced heat you can warm up really fast and it cools off really fast. With radiant heat, it's a slow, bring to a certain temperature, and then you kind of want to hold. So yeah, I learned the hard way after many years of having it fluctuate a lot. It takes a while for it to heat up, but once you get there, if you hold it steady, it stays pretty good. So I have stuff around there like, hey, I'm away. Hey, I'm home. Hey, it's cold. Hey, it's warm. Like those kinds of things. There's temps when I'm away, temps when it's cold outside, temps when it's warm outside. So pretty easy there. I mean, and then when it comes to heating and cooling, then I have fans. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 6 fans with stuff on. And that's really just for, you know, that's really just for me personally to like cool off or something, not really to circulate air, although it does help. Air purifiers, they're not really for heating and cooling, to circulate and clean up air. Blinds, you know, open and close them, and that's not really to keep the heat out, although, you know, it probably will be in the summer, but that's just to help me wake up in the morning. So, you know, I wish I had something really cool, but not really when it comes to temperature. When it comes to other automations, yeah, I mean, I think I have fairly cool stuff, like, you know, just lights and how they work and, you know, which are paired and how my Zigbee network goes from my house all the way outside to my garage, you know, using a mesh network. I think those things are cool. So anyways, wish I had better stuff around heat and cooling, but, you know, pretty basic stuff. Masteroids, hey, Tim, greetings from the Philippines. I have Samba ads. Samba ADDS for user logins and GPOs. Question, ADCS is not supported in Linux. If I do this on a Windows server, will it work? The purpose I'm trying to solve is so that I have a YubiKey PIV set up for user logins that clients are all Windows PC. So I kind of understand what's going on. So you have Samba, and you're using Samba's authentication for logins, and then you're wondering, hey, ADSC, which is from Microsoft Windows Active Directory, you know, LDAP, basically, Microsoft's LDAP, will it work? Because you want to use YubiKey for user logins and your clients are on Windows PC. That's going to have to be like a try it and figure out. I wish I had more information on this. I'm, you know, I'm embarrassed to say, like, I don't even run a domain controller at home. I feel like I need to, or at least like what you're doing, where you're running Samba with authentication too. So, I don't know. That's going to be like, for me personally, I would first research, like, hey, has anyone else out here done this? And this is exactly what you're doing. This is research, asking people who might know. I personally don't. But then, like, you know, I would obviously look on Reddit because all the answers are there. I feel like always, ever, and that's where ChatGPT like learned everything for the most part. But then I would probably just try it. Like, if you have the infrastructure in place, it would be a good test. It would be a good test. So, SSSD is good for Linux Auth 2AD. There you go. There you go. I don't have one. Like, at some point I would love to. You know, with some Linux machines, join Linux machines to, you know, my Windows domain and see how it works and see all of that. I don't have the time. I wish I did. So, Master Raids, I hope that helps. But what could help too is, hey, join our Discord. This sounds like a great conversation to have with people like Mafni, who's given you some tips on SSSD. So auth for AD for Linux. Mafni's in our Discord. So yeah, if nothing else, you should totally join our Discord and maybe we can get this thing figured out. Because yeah, I don't know the answer, but I would love to see it. But yeah, I too can be useful for policy control to the kids' computer for sure. Absolutely, yeah, for sure. Like don't get me wrong. I used to run a domain controller at home. Like after college, I lived with my brother for a while. I'm like, hey, I'm joining every machine to a domain controller. He's just kind of like, whatever. I have no idea what you're talking about. And it was great until I did two things. I brought in a couple of group policies. One on the password. He was just kind of like, wow, why do I need a password? Or, yeah, it was, why do I need a password? Why doesn't auto sign in work? And then I did the registry hack to auto sign him in. The next thing I did was my documents redirect, and, my network wasn't, the best back then. And, it was like, why is all the music so slow or not there? So anyways, this was in my early days. But yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Like being able to run a domain at home and have, Windows machines or whatever machines that can honor, group policies, especially for kids, pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Cause then you're like, yep, nope. Yep, nope, to a lot of stuff. You know, that's what you're like, whoa, what's going on? Dude, a sleepiest. Dude, thank you so much. 5 gifted subs? Dude, thank you so much. Again, dude, appreciate it. A sleepiest, sir sleeps a lot. Dude, I appreciate it. Let's see. So Dr. Doobie, Fnugs, Lessertine, Jiro, and Devil, enjoy your gifted sub from a sleepiest. Dude, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, thank you. Appreciate it. Wow, awesome. Man, I'm already going over. So I'm gonna look for a couple of these that may or may not look like they want to see something. Maybe for me. Let me see. Bill Nash, you'd have to access. Oh, you guys are figuring something else. Kunefi, I need to work on my blog, personal website. I'm ditching Ghost, and we'll use Hugo. Yeah, I've been down that path. For sure. Rompontual. I'm totally slaughtered that one, but I'm trying to add single sign-on in my Homelab. My setup has pfSense, HA proxy. I'm trying to add Authentik to perform SSO. Have you done something similar? No, I'm going to be honest. No, I haven't. So I've used auth proxy stuff, auth proxy, to basically give you almost what's it called? Zero trust type thing where, you know, hey, everyone needs to authenticate through the proxy first before they get to the things behind it. But that's not single sign-on. So I haven't, honestly. No. I think so. I think PC Geek's done it. But anyways, I know that Christian Lempa has a video on it. But always when I looked at it, I'm like, man, this is a lot of work. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is a lot of work to get it going, to get it right, to get it working, and then have all of your integrations working for every stack that you have. I was just kind of like, yeah, it's a lot of work. Like, it sounds great, and I would love to do it. And like, I'm encouraging you to go and do it because you want to do it. But for me, with like everything else I have to go on, I was like, man, I can't do it. So anyways, I haven't. I mean, I've done SSO stuff other places. Like, you know, I've done Google OAuth. I've done Facebook. I've done, you know, you name it. Every social auth possible, Microsoft authentication. And not only OAuth, but also, yeah, true single sign-on to where you're not signing in again and re-authing each time you hit a service. I've done it. Yeah, I've done it for companies. But I haven't done Authentik at home for my own stuff. So maybe I should. I wish I had some help. But I think PC Geek has done it too, which, again, like, if you're not in Discord, you totally should. Kunefi, I heard about it. Oh, this is going back to some. I heard about it from Hanselman's podcast. Seems like a neat idea. I gotta figure out where this goes back to, because I know the Hanselman. It's Scott Hanselman. He's I think he's VP for open source at Microsoft. I don't know. I met him personally. Totally random at a dev conference. It was a Microsoft one. But before he's real big time. So I got a photo with him. I don't know. He's a good guy. Scott Hanselman. He seems like such a nice guy. And like, you know, the trumpets on the beginning of Hanselman, it's like, I can hear it right now. So anyways, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. But if you heard it from Scott Hanselman, it's got to be good. It's got to be good, right? Anyways, my next purchase will be a small form factor fanless SSD NAS. Yeah, I live in a small apartment and want to reduce noise levels and footprint. Yeah, for sure. Like, you're going to reduce a couple of things: cost, heat, and electricity going SSD. And you're also going to reduce the money in your wallet because it's a little bit more expensive to go that way. So we talked about microblog. All right. Thank you, Kunefi. Yeah. He's had his own blog for a long time. I think it's scotthanselman.net or hanselman.net or something like that. I mean, it's even .net. But microblog, I'm assuming that's also a product, which is pretty cool. So anyways, I'll have to check it out. Let me see. John 5S. I don't think my first PC is around anymore. Bought it from Radio Shack, a Tandy 1000. Hey, John. So sorry, just getting to this. I bet you could find it though. So this is going back to like, hey, my first PC, like I would love to rebuild it. That's what I was thinking. Like, hey, I could recreate it, you know. And I was thinking like, ooh, where would it be? And ooh, I can install all these old games and music software I used to have on there, Winamp, and relive the good old days. But then I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. But as I talk about it some more, even just saying Winamp, I kind of want to. Oh, let's see. Oh man, I'm way over in time, and I'm trying to pick out ones that either look for me or look interesting in the half a second I can look, or names I don't see often. So I recently ran internet throughout my house. Attics suck. Yeah, they do. I'm with you too. Because I'm in that situation. I haven't even read the list, but attics do suck. And so for mine, I wanted to run everything up to the attic first and then all the way down to the basement. And so that's something I said in my head. Like, I'm not going to go from here down. I'm not going to go anywhere down. Even if I'm on the main floor, I'm going to go up to the attic and back down. It's kind of weird, but maybe I should rethink that main floor thing. Actually, I did. From the main floor, I did go down and I cut something. I cut a hose to a radiator. That was fun. I cut a hose right in a hose into a radiator, and started hearing a gurgling, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird. What's that bubbling noise?" All of the radiators drained into my basement, so that's something my wife won't let me forget. But yeah, and then we had to do emergency plumbing, right then and there because it was also winter. So yeah, good times, good to home ownership and trying to run Ethernet. So anyways, I ran Ethernet throughout my house. Attics suck, they do. I've now I have a 24-port UniFi switch sitting on my workbench with everything running to it. Awesome. Anyone have any creative ideas for space-efficient hardware mounting? I think traditional wall mount server would be too deep. It's almost like I put you here to talk about these mini racks I have coming out tomorrow. No. So 24 port, I assume it's a 19-inch port, right? Creative ways. Obviously, there are network cabinets. You can get short depth network cabinets, right? Super short depth, that are short depth, like not the huge server ways. So server size. And so those are a possibility. One thing I noticed too, I think was in his latest videos, Tom Lawrence, on his Homelab tour. I think it released it yesterday. I saw that, and he's shown this in pictures. He just has one switch like mounted to the wall, like kind of vertically too. And I was like, that's a great idea. You don't need anything else. You just need this switch on a wall. So that might be an option too, right? Just get some kind of mounts. You can mount it on the wall. It's still great. Mount it facing out in vertical, so you don't have to look up or look down and plug in. You need to plug in from the side. I don't know, a whole lot of this going on, but that's an idea too. So that might be an idea. Yeah. Check out Tom Lawrence video. He just released it, I think yesterday, going through like his Homelab. So that might be, you'll probably get a lot of ideas through there. Otherwise, for me, like I kind of like putting my stuff inside of something else. It's like a box in a box. I kind of like doing that, except for with shipping. And so for me personally, I'd put it in some kind of rack. But if it was network only, I'd go super short depth. And I'd probably keep it open too. We'll see. But I hope you figure it out. Tiden, I think of all the things you can hang off the sides of the rack with plywood. Says, oh yeah, you totally could. So going back to that, you totally could. You totally could. I mean, because then you can just screw stuff in with wood screws, and for sure. All right, guys, I'm gonna keep going. Techno Tim, what software are you using for network overview diagram? Oh yeah. So depends on the video, but you probably mean the latest one. Well, there's a combination. So for a little bit, I did use Figma, which is a SaaS. There's a free version. And so I used that in the beginning. But then I switched to two things. There's like, oh gosh, I have to look. I have to Google stuff now. I'm like, how can I not? I have it like running and self-hosted. Like names slip me every now and then. And I don't want to get it wrong. So one is, Draw.io. So that's, Draw.io is one where it's really good for diagramming, and Draw.io is a website, but you can also self-host that thing. I might have something coming out on soon. I'm just talking about real quick how I self-hosted it myself. And even though they don't log stuff and keep stuff, they say, I'm still like, if I could self-host it, it's exactly what I want to do. I think you could even use my self-hosted version if you want to. I think it's diagram.technotim.live. Yeah, I think you can. So if you go there, you can use my version of draw.io if you don't trust draw.io and for some reason you trust me instead. Diagram? No. Yeah. So I self-host draw.io and I called it diagram.technotim.live. So that's one of them. And the other thing I self-host to do this is it Draw? I forgot my domain names because I hop on this all the time. No, it's I know it's not Draw. It's I don't know why I'm doing this. I thought it was, yeah, it's Draw. Draw.technotim.live, which will then get you to Excalidraw. And again, like Excalidraw, they self-host it and it works fine. And they say they don't log and they don't do anything. But I'm like, hey, if I can self-host it, why not? Like, that's kind of my thing. And so so I have two tools that I use, and you don't have to self-host it yourself. You can go right to there. It's free, open source. They host it. It works. It's always up. So again, draw.io. And that's what I use really for like diagrams. Like if I need something structured and I need icons and, you know, and it's kind of all right there, that's what I usually go to. But then I use Excalidraw for more freeform stuff. So like when I have meetings on Zoom calls with people and I need to explain myself, I'm a very visual person. I just go to draw.technotim.live and I start drawing pictures. Because a lot of times, like in my job, I like have to explain these, you know, huge technical things to people who aren't technical at all, you know, sales or whatever, sales, product management, whatever. And so this is the first thing I do on a Zoom call. Okay, let me diagram this for you and kind of show you what I'm talking about. So, and yeah, so that's what I use. Figma's great, the free version. Collaboration even works even better, but that's SaaS. You know, say what you want. You got to create an account, but they'll let you have one board for free. And it's a great tool. It's a designer tool, but it's a great collaboration tool if you want a freeform draw. And then draw.io, open source, free. They host it. You can host it. It's more structured, more for diagrams, more like if I was going to do a network diagram. And then Excalidraw, which is basically a whiteboard tool, but you could use it for diagramming tool. And it's, again, open source, self-hostable, and I self-host it. Not all of the features work when you self-host it, like the collaboration piece and sharing out your whiteboards. Those don't work when you self-host it. But again, for me, most of the time, I need to explain what I'm thinking and get what I'm thinking out of my head for someone on a call or for YouTube. And so I'm like, I don't need those features. So anyway, so yeah, that's what I use. Yeah, good question. They're all great. And I decided, yeah, I'm going to self-host this stuff. So yeah, it's running in my Homelab too. So all right, you guys, I'm like almost 45 minutes over. I did start a little bit late, but I want to make sure. And I just clicked on that. I've hosted WikiJS for my internal documentation. It has a built-in something component. So diagrams and markdown. Yeah, it's not direct file-based, so it needs a database. But I just need a doc tool. There you go. Yeah, WikiJS is great. WikiJS is great. I ran it for a while. I ran the 1.0 version. I think they're on 2 now. Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic because you can write however you want. You can write in Markdown. You can do whatever you want, really. Or you can use it like WYSIWYG. But it's great. It's a great tool, especially for structuring stuff when you need to structure data, right? Or information, I guess you should say, because you can have sections, you can have titles, you can do all that. But then on top of that, you're saying, hey, they have plugins and they have built-in diagramming component, I assume, and it works there. So yeah, awesome. Yeah, good ones too. Good recommendations, dude. Richard Phil, dude, thank you so much. Subscribe, Prime sub. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you. Probably my last one, because I gotta, well, there's one, no, we'll go this one, because this looks like, oh man. Is there a place to request features for UniFi? Looking to see when they can add port sharing on OpenVPN server, so I can just have my single port open on my firewall. That's the only thing I keeping me on pfSense and looking forward to jump ship. So you're saying, hey, port sharing on OpenVPN server. So I think I'm trying to understand what this means so I can have my single port open to my firewall. So I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Is there a place? Yes. I mean, they have their own forums and people say that stuff. What I usually see people doing, I'm not saying this is right, but this happens every time. Like every time they do a firmware release for one of their products, like someone will right away say, when are you going to add this feature? And they'll do that on every firmware release they have. So that is not the right thing to do. You know, that's a good question. Like, how do you get product, you know, feedback or requests back to them? You know, they're definitely open to feedback. There just needs to be a channel for it. I would assume it's in their forums, because they have some. So I would just say that. I would say best place to start is their forums and ask, because, you know, worst case scenario, they'll say, hey, it's not on the roadmap. Best case scenario, they'll say it's on the roadmap. We're going to do it next, you know, so it could only help. So yeah, I wish I had a better way. Like, I do know people there, but it's not the product folks. So, you know, and, but I think the forums is the best place, because then you'll get a whole bunch of old me too's. And if you get a lot of old me too's, and then it's like, okay, maybe they should be focusing on something like that. So, okay. Oh man. So, let me see. Oh yeah. Have only, port 443 for OpenVPN, and the traffic is not VPN, and send it to my reverse proxy. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Cause OpenVPN's an SSL VPN. And so 443, like, yeah. So it needs to be, yeah. So you port forward 443 to your reverse proxy, but OpenSSL VPN uses 443 as well. I assume, yeah, because it's over SSL. So yeah. Oh, the default port isn't 443. Oh, I figured it was. So I don't know, but if you have two ports on the same thing, yeah, not going to be easy. You'd have to put a load balancer behind it, to then filter out the traffic, or, you know, you hope that the firewall manufacturer does it. I know that UniFi can do some conditional port forwarding, because I've had to do it before. It's kind of weird, and I had to make a ton of rules, but it is there, and that's kind of what you hope is like, okay, well, hopefully the firewall will figure this out. So yeah, I thought it was like 6443 or something. I don't know. But yeah, so I would say post it there, and in the forums, and hopefully you'll get a bunch of like thumbs up, and people are like all over this, because, you know, at the end of the day, like with any product, you have to figure out where you focus your time, right? And so, like, time is not free, employees are not free, and so, like, you have to like kind of figure out where you spend the time. And so if it's something like, hey, one of their big customers want, or if it's something that a lot of people want in general, or if it's low-hanging fruit and you can do it anyway, those are my favorite as developer, low-hanging fruit. Yeah, it could or maybe should get done. So anyways, yeah, jump on the forums and ask them. Yeah, for sure.